Screen is visible. So today we are going to discuss about Maven and the reason why we are going to start with Maven. The big picture is, as we are done with some basic stuffs of Java, core Java, and how to create web application using core Java, we are moving forward with big things, Hibernate and Spring Boot. Okay, these are two big things which you have to cover. And if we have to deal with this kind of or this big size of framework and their uh, structure, how to write code, so all that can be covered by using Maven. So before starting these two big frameworks, we need to understand what is Maven, how Maven is helpful, and then we will see how we can use Maven to leverage the features and properties or advantages of these frameworks, the popular frameworks. Okay, so we'll definitely start with these topics, but later today we'll see what is Maven. Okay, so Maven is open source build tool or software. So it is first of all provided by Apache. It's from Apache. Apache provides lots of tools, softwares. So Apache Maven is you can say it's a full name. It's Apache Maven, and it's open source build automation tool. And mostly it is used to uh, manage your project. And most primarily it is focused on Java. So if you're talking about some statements, I can write one single statement. It's an open source build uh, tool used for automating Java based softwares or projects, I would say. Okay, so this is what Maven do. It do some kind of automation. Okay, fine. So what are the key features which makes this Maven important and very critical? If you are learning or going to start Spring Boot, definitely you have to use Maven. By default, you are using Maven. Yep, that's there. So how this whole thing is, revolve around Maven. So we have to understand, they're like, first of all, the very first thing is it's a project management tool. Okay, it manages your project very nicely. And one more good thing about it, it manages your libraries. So we can say it's dependency management. Dependency. So dependency means here library management. That's a term given by Maven. In day-to-day life, we call this library, right? So if you have to use any external library in your Maven project, it's really easy. You can just use its file. We manage this whole thing inside pom.xml file. There's a XML file which is used to manage all the dependency or the library. So really cool stuff here. We will see how it works. Next, it has lots of plugin supports. Okay, so we can easily integrate plugins and it will work nicely. So that's make uh, Maven one beautiful tool to manage your project. So project management tool which manage everything, and definitely we have some structure. We call that standardized directory structure. Standardized directory. So we will see what's the directory, and you have to guys follow the directory. You cannot go against it. Just use and leverage it for your project. Standardized directory structure. Okay, so again there are lots of features about it, but I figured out these are the really important features you should know why Maven is important to know. So that's one some features. And it, as I said, plugins. So when we say plugins, so it is really important how to work with that. So if you think about CI/CD, so it's really easy to integrate with CI/CD. You can easily plug in use that Jenkins plugin and it will work. If you have to use there's one popular tool which is used for database migration, Liquibase. So just use this plugin and things will be done easily. You can even um, generate source code of any library. If you want to do that, just provide that. So generate source code as well. It is also possible by using plugins. So there are like n numbers of possibilities with plugins. It's like just plug that tag within it and it will work. Again, that tag goes in XML format. So the prior thing is, if you are working with Maven, you should have a clear understanding of this XML. And if you're wondering what is XML, so I'll suggest, if you never done this XML before, so this again, I'm going back to the same website, XML W3 schools website. This provides a really ultra simple, you can say, explanation how XML works. And I'll suggest at least go with these things. I'm going to take this out from the screenshot. Not everything you have to cover, but certain things which you should know about XML. So introduction, tree, syntax, elements, attributes, namespace, display, request, not required, parser, no, DOM, yes. I'll just remove it from the list. Uh, this much go away. Then DOM, jQuery, schema, so this one. Okay, I can put it like this. And then I can remove the bottom part. Okay, so if you want to learn XML or have a better understanding, if you never know what is XML works, how XML works, so you should go over this thing. It's not part of it's not a language, it's just a syntax based approach where we create a file of some different structure. I can give you a simple idea. That's how XML file looks like. That's your header, that's the root node, and then some subtext. And that's it, and it stands for extensible markup language. I'll take this line from here, but yeah, just dive by the website, and if still you have a confusion doubt, get back to me, I'll clear that out. Okay, so XML is required. It's a prerequisite to start with Maven. Again, XML is really simple stuff. It has custom tags and you can create your own tags, but Maven supports some standardized structure, and that structure comes from the POM file as well, and that's how it works. Apart from these features, Maven provides also some commands. So there are certain commands which I don't think we are going to execute explicitly because we are going to use Eclipse. So Eclipse is there to handle all that stuffs. So we are not going to execute these commands by ourselves. It will be executed by Eclipse. But again, I can write that. So most common commands are like Maven clean command, which will clean all the directory and the library which has. Then Maven compile, Maven package, the space, and then Maven install. So most of the time, if you're using some external tools or you're not using Eclipse by chance, or just want to use standalone projects without using any tool, any IDE, so definitely you can run these commands. So again, they're like 7-8 commands. So most of the time we are going to use clean, even not sometimes compile below. So clean, package, and install. These are three commands which are mostly used, and I use these commands a lot when I'm not using Eclipse. I just want to execute certain commands from the command line. Okay, so we have a idea what Maven is, what feature it provides. Okay, so you don't have to download any software something, at least for now. What you guys can do, you can use Eclipse and create Maven project by using Eclipse. That's what we're going to do. So how to do that? Let's see. Okay, that's previous project. We can close all files. Okay, so we're going to create a Maven project. So file, new, and you can see we have this option Maven project. In case if it is not there, so file, new, and go for bottom, the other, and here you can type Maven and pick Maven project. After doing this, click next. Okay, again next, no need to change anything, just selecting Maven project. This box pops up, next again, and here it will list out some important things. Okay, and you can see some down there it is retrieving something, retrieving archetypes. These archetypes are important, and that's how Maven understand that what uh, medium you're using to create your project. And these are the artifact ID. Okay, so we are going to use Apache Maven quick start. Maven archetype quick start, this one. So we will use Maven archetype quick start. So it's from org Apache Maven archetype. Okay, so we will pick Maven, Apache Maven. We have multiple options. Let me just cut this out and show you again. So you have list of archetypes. And multiple organizations provide their own archetypes, but we are learning Apache Maven. So you have to search this much. Okay, quick start. This is the one. Make sure that you are picking org Apache Maven archetypes and it's Maven archetype quick start artifact ID. Select this one, click next, and then this screen comes up, and this is the important screen. Okay, why? Because here you have to give all of your project details. Group ID, treat this group ID as your package name. Okay, like how we create give package name, everything should be in small, and if one word is done, so we start with dot and then next word starts. So abc dot xyz dot something like that, abc dot, let's say, pqr dot xyz. So that's your package name. That's typically we create package name. So you have to follow the same pattern. Don't write anything in capitals, should be in small letter, and treat this like group ID is like your package name. Again, not exactly the same, but just for the first time you are understanding it. So that's how we're going to follow. So it's going to be our Hibernate application. So I'll call it, you're free to call it anything. I'm calling org.hp for Hibernate. That's fine. Next is artifact ID. Artifact ID is actually a project name. Like on left side you can see we have core Java app, first servlet app. So here I'm going to create Hibernate app, and it could be in capitals or small. I'll keep it simple. I'll keep it in small again. Hibernate hyphen app. Now notice, as soon as I give the artifact ID, it auto picks the things. So group ID becomes package name. There it is, org hb. As I said, it is your package name, so it goes here, and then your project or the artifact ID becomes the root package name. And I don't think it's a good idea to keep your name in this way. It's a typo, first of all. We are not supposed to pass hyphen or underscore in your in this thing. So I'll say I just want okay, I'll keep this application name, but later I will rename this part. I'll keep my package name till here. Yes, you are free to rename this as well. Okay, so ultimately my root package org hp remains. Guys, try to understand, this is something which is really critical. Your package name, the root package should root package name should be clear to you that this is my root package, and all the upcoming packages which we are going to create in future should be inside this package. Follow this pattern and you will never get your project structure get blown away, and your project is not figuring out some of the classes, and lots of errors will happen when you are not picking the right package or right package structure. So always make sure that you are very sure about what's your root package name. So my root package name is org.hibernate. That's it. And that's my application name, Hibernate hyphen app. App could be anything, but don't use this kind of name in your package name. Okay, it's done. Now I can click on finish. Now Eclipse will build this project and will ask sometimes that are you okay with this or not. So on console you might see some yes or no option, and this is only required when you're creating the project first time, and you can see it is saying why. So it says are you verifying all these things, so yeah, just say why and enter, and it says build success, and Eclipse will create a project for you. There it is, Hibernate app. Great. So it's ready. Let's expand this project, and this is how your project looks like. Again, it's not completely created by Maven. One more folder or directory is missing. We have to create that manually. So it is known as source folder, which is missing here. So what I do, I'll right click on the project name, new, and I'll pick one option, source folder. You have to do this by yourself, guys, as well. Okay, otherwise your Hibernate application won't work. So the source folder name goes like this way, src. I'll follow the same pattern. like here src main java, src test java. So this time the third source folder is src slash main slash resources. Yes, you have to type it as it is. src main resources. No typo, no case sensitivity. Just keep it everything small and it should be resources. src main resources. And click finish. Okay. So now our application is complete. And not application, but project structure is complete. Let's take a screenshot and try to understand what these things are. Okay. Project structure should be clear to you guys why things are working that way. Okay, let's zoom a little bit. Okay, better. Let's save this image too. Okay, so very first part is your project name, Hibernate app. Then let's create the lines first. Then I'll write in black color. src main Java. Okay, this is location where we create or write Java classes. Okay, all Java code goes here. src test Java, as the name says, here we will write all the test cases. src main resources. This is where we put our configuration files, properties file, and JSON files. If you want, you can keep images as well. So it's a place where you keep all these configuration things. JRE system resource, that's our JDK version, that is 17 we are using. That's a Java version. Maven dependencies. This is the local space where all the libraries from the remote server gets downloaded. Let me show you how it looks like. If you expand Maven dependencies, so you can see it says JUnit, OpenTest, JUnit, API Guardian, API, JUnit, Jupyter. So all these are jar files. We already saw the jar files. So they are coming from Maven repository. I'll show you that in maybe 5-10 minutes. So that from there, Maven downloads all the libraries and put it in your local. So that's the reference. Here it will keep everything. Then this src is same like here src. If you expand, you can see src slash main then Java. So if I expand src, you will see the same main then Java resources and so on. So it's same stuff, nothing special. Target is placed when you build your project. So at the end of the day, once you're done with your code, you want your project to be binded in a jar file or a war file, so you can further deploy it on a server. It could be a manual deployment or it could be automated server by using some CI/CD pipelines. So that jar file or that war file goes inside this target folder. By default, it goes there. That's how Maven is configured. And lastly, the POM file, the actual file where we add dependencies, plugins, versions, configuration, everything you can think of, it goes here. So this is your main and one of the important file. Okay, so let's name them. So this, here, here, target, and POM file. Okay, so first is your project name. I'll say Maven project name. Fine. src main Java. Location for all Java classes. So yeah, here we will add all Java classes, packages and all thing goes there. This is for test cases like JUnit test cases. src main resources, this is where we put configuration file. I'll say config files, and that config file could be an XML, it could be properties, and then apart from it you can also put JSON files, images, and other project related documents, docs. Okay, this is our JDK version, that is 17 used here. Then Maven dependencies, local repo for jars used by the project. Okay, so this is the location for that local repo. Target folder where build file goes, like jar file, war file, etc. Okay, and the last file in this list is POM file, which is important file. Oops. I'll say config file is fine. Config file to add dependency. Dependency means libraries here. So we are going to call dependencies nowadays, now onwards. But nowadays this term is popular and mostly used. Nowadays say libraries. Maybe someone will say, but most of the time dependencies, because everything is Maven right now. Most of the time. Again, if we have to give a ratio, 80 to 90% projects are on Maven, then we have some other build tool as well. Okay, so going to add dependencies, plugins, and configurations. Okay, so this is our overall picture how your Maven project looks like, and we also have a Maven project ready with us. Okay, great. I'm not going to cover much about it. Even know not much theory is required to understand what is Maven. As you spend some time, you will get to know how things works. Okay, but I'll definitely open some files for you guys to understand how file looks like. So we have multiple tabs down there: overview, dependencies, dependency, the whole hierarchy, then effective POM, and finally the pom.xml. So you guys have to be on always on pom.xml. Don't get confused if you are on some other tab and say, okay, where my whole XML thing is. So that XML part is right here. The last tab, pom.xml. That's your file name. And we don't need to worry about all that part of a piece of code, but let me give you a walkthrough. So this is the header of your POM file, which was similar what we saw in this site. See, XML version encoding. Okay, something similar you will see here. XML version encoding. So that's the standard way of writing any XML file. So we have to start with headers. Then after we have a root tag project and multiple XML name spaces. XML namespaces. So okay, still if it is not much clear, don't worry, not that important, but yeah, I'm just giving you an idea. So in future, if you revisit this video, so you have idea what our POM file contains. So project is our root tag. Then after model version, that is 4.00. Again, it is just auto-generated, so we don't need to worry about it unless you have to configure it manually. Okay, then group ID, it's the same version or group ID which we give org.hibernate. Then artifact ID, which has the application name Hibernate app. That's it, Hibernate app. Okay, then by default it starts with 0.0 version snapshot. So by default this is the version, and as you progress with our application and you want to maintain version and the stuff, so you can keep increasing the version names, and that's how jar file gets generated. So if I generate jar file for this application, the jar file would be application name and then 0.0.1 snapshot. That's how it will be named. Then again the same name, so artifact ID and name remains same. Then some random URL if you want to give it, so you can give it here. Maybe it's a project or website URL. Then under properties, two important things are here. When Maven builds your project, because ultimately now it's a Maven responsibility to build the project, so it needs compiler. So we are giving 17. That's 17 actually a JDK version. That here we are maintaining that we are going to use Java 17. So Java 17 compiler it will use. Okay, so properties will take all those things here. Then comes the dependency management. For now you can skip it, not required. I'll just minimize it. The important section here where you can focus on, that is dependencies. So every time when we open POM file, the only thing which will be highlighted and most concerned part is dependency tag. It will contain multiple dependency tags. Every dependency tag highlights one library, and here you guys can see we have two libraries here. By default these get generated. One is JUnit Jupyter and next one is JUnit Jupyter. That's the name. It is for API and this is for parameters. So these are included by Maven itself. And when you add these dependencies, so what does it will do? It will contact one famous repository, one of the huge repository in the world for maintaining all the libraries, which is Maven repository. You can find out every single library looking forward, and you will definitely get it here, mavenrepository.com. It's a huge library, lots of libraries are here, and you can search out by typing here. Let's suppose I want to use MySQL. Okay, remember we use MySQL JDBC. I want to use MySQL connector. Search and you can get MySQL connector. Let's say I want to use Oracle JDBC something. Want to connect that. So it starts with O JDBC and 8, and then other version you can see 6. And if you specific, so it will give you directly. Otherwise, you can see lots of pages are there just to matching with the Oracle. I want to use some Spring Boot library. Spring Boot uses some JPA library, so let me search for JPA. So there it is, Spring Boot Starter Data JPA, JPA 2.0. Right now we are going to learn Hibernate. And if I search, I can see Hibernate ORM, Hibernate core relocation, lots of libraries with the name Hibernate, validator, core, annotations, API, and then JPA starts. Lots of pages are there. So you can search up any library and definitely you can find it here. Okay, so what happens when you add these dependencies? Maven will go online and search this library here and downloads it in your system, and you can sense it here that it is the path for my all the jar files. What if I delete this dependency from the dependencies tag? Guys, notice out. As soon as I remove it, okay, I removed it, and when I save the file, check out what happens to these jar files. I'm going to save, and see the whole section is gone because now we are not adding or using any library or entering any library to Maven project. Let me control Z. There it is, and as soon as I save it, it pops up. There it is. So these libraries are coming from this dependency. If I remove one of the library or dependency from here, the jar file related to this dependency will be gone. I'm going to save again and see one library is gone. So that's how it works. As soon as you add any dependency from the web, or if you know somewhere that dependencies are there, you can add them and your project will go online and download that dependency locally for you, and it will be visible here under Maven dependencies. And this is done. Let's close this part as well. This as well. Now next part is build, because Maven is famous for build. It could be manual, it could be automated, and for automation we need multiple plugins. By default it adds Maven clean plugin, Maven resource plugin, lots of Maven plugins it will get added. So if you want you can close them by here. So that's just one plugin for Maven. If you want some more plugins, yes, you are free to add that. Just add one more tag plugin and search for what plugin you are looking for. Let's say I want to integrate we have one software, I missed its name, which is used to look for the bugs, code smells and all the bug you have written there, so that can figure out that. So you can just add its plugin and it will work. Maven will integrate it in your project. And if you want to add some CI/CD, again add one plugin. You have to give a proper name, artifact ID and version, and Maven will download it for you and just build your project, and that will start working. And obviously it's half true, you have to configure it at other end as well. But yeah, that's what it was. But definitely we are not going to use this one. I'm just giving you overview how this build tag works. So for our class, our focus would be on dependencies tag. Okay, it's done. Now if I have to create any Hibernate application, so what is required? So let's move to that topic. Now we are moving to Hibernate now. Third image, Hibernate. So let's talk about Hibernate, then we will see how to create that Maven project we just created on Eclipse specific to Maven, specific to Hibernate. Right now it's just a simple Maven project. not saying which framework or which tool we are going to use. It's just a Maven project. We have to make it specific to Hibernate only. But what is Hibernate first of all? So Hibernate is famous for one term and it is used side by side. We call this ORM tool. So this stands for Object Relational, or sometimes we call this relation mapping. That's the whole form of ORM, object relation or relational mapping. So what exactly this thing do? So on high level picture, let me give you an idea. So we have a, let's say we have a class. I'm going to create a simple Java class, user class, user Java class, and it has two fields, private, let's say ID, and private string name. Okay. Now idea is I want this class to be as a table in database. So that's what Hibernate do. It maps your Java class into a table. So if you want that structure, what does Hibernate do in middle? We have this ORM tool in middle. In short, I'm writing HP, that is ORM. So what does it will do? You have to pass this object to Hibernate, and Hibernate will convert that class into a table. So what does it do? The class name is user. Okay, great. So it will say, okay, your class name is user. So I'll create a table whose name will be user. Okay, you have two fields, ID and name. So I will use this field as a column. So first column would be ID, second column would be name. And that's how Hibernate will map your class into a table. This is what we're up to, and that's the purpose of using this ORM. So you don't have to create tables manually. We are going to use this ORM tool because this is one of the tedious job to be done by developers. They have to look out, okay, first of all they have to create tables, then map multiple tables to each of the primary keys, foreign keys, lots of things going on, and then at the end you can write a code. So what Hibernate suggests, okay, side by side, definitely you are going to map that table somewhere in Java code, more, more specifically to a Java class. So why not do it this way? So we will create or map this Java class to this particular table. So when you're working with Hibernate maps it. That's why it says object relational mapping. The reason is, oops, the reason is object is here. What is class? It's an object ultimately. What is user here? It is known as relation. So that's a database term, relation or relational. Okay, that's why we call this RDBMS, relational database management system. So tables are also known as relational. And what's happening in between? Mapping. So object relational mapping. So I hope this term is clear why we call this ORM tool. Now we have an idea what Hibernate can do, and we have understood the terminology. This ORM stands for what? So we can move forward with the steps. How to create a Hibernate application. So step first is add Hibernate dependency. Okay, this is the first step. We have to add this library or dependency in POM file. That's the very first step we have to do. Okay, so how to do that? Either you can go out and search for the web for a specific version, or you can ask to your to your seniors, because you are at some level where you don't know which version is perfect for my learning, right? So what I'll do, I'll go back to my previous projects because from there I can get the actual version. Let's open, extract this. We are opening this project to get the version. Okay, and there it is, 5.1.11. So this, sorry, my bad, not this one. Okay, it doesn't have the version, sorry. Not in this project. I mean, this day must be another day. Okay, so this is, we are going to use 5.3.7 version in our application. Okay, so this is the dependency for our Hibernate application. ORG Hibernate, that's the name of the group ID, and artifact ID, like we give the project name, so it's Hibernate hyphen core. And you guys can see I just followed the same pattern. It is Hibernate hyphen core. How I name my project? Hibernate hyphen app. So I'm just following the rule, and you guys have to follow the same. Keep it in small letters, and if you have like extra words, separate them by hyphen or dash, whatever you call it. Okay, so I need this dependency for sure. So let me add. And by the way, guys, we don't need this test cases, so I'm going to remove them. And as soon as I remove it, you might see that our project will give error. SRC and this, because these are for test cases, not from here. You can expand from this and read this package. We are not going to write test case for this, so remove it. Okay, error is gone. Great. Now, first library we are going to add the Hibernate code format, and right now you can see that Maven dependency is gone. As soon as I save the file, Maven will again contact Maven repository, the website, and it will download multiple jar files. So let's save and see. Now if I expand, see, just by adding one dependency, it has downloaded almost, I don't know, 9 or 10 some jar files. So that means Hibernate needs all these libraries. Guys, Hibernate is all about database. Whatever we are going to do, it will affect database, and we will work on database rigorously. So we ready for that. We are going to do lots of stuffs with database and do the operations. Okay, so just by adding this, it is clear. We have added our first library. Next thing is we have to pick database as well. That which database we are going to pick. So for that, we have picked MySQL database, and if we are going to use or run any operation on MySQL, we need its jar file, like we did in core Java application. For JDBC API in servlet, we have used that. Same way, we are going to use Hibernate for this part as well. Okay, so then let's go back, and there it is. The next library for MySQL is this one. Copy it, and I'll paste it again just below. Guys, sequence doesn't matter, so you can paste it anywhere. It's not hard and fast that it has to be always down. You can paste it anywhere. So I just added this library. I haven't saved it yet. When I save, yeah, 2 3 more libraries are here. MySQL and protobuf. This is also used by MySQL. So 2 more libraries are added once I have this library. What else I needed? Yeah, we needed these extra libraries for support purpose, because we are dealing with XMLs, and if you want to read and write in XML or your project, right now Maven is using this whole thing, and Maven wants to read the XML files, so we needed support from XML libraries. So we need these two dependencies as well. Okay, so I'll copy this, and in our project it goes here. Code format, Control Shift F, always format your code, and I'll save it. Some more libraries are added near project, and again from where? From Maven repository is coming up. Anything else I missed? No. So Hibernate, MySQL jar file, and 2 libraries for supporting XML operations, which is happen behind the scene. We are not going to write anything explicitly. Okay, so our first step is ready. We are done with the libraries. So let me copy this whole dependency tag. We'll go back on Paint and paste it. So the very first step is done. Fine. Next step is you have to decide which class is going to be treated as a table in database. So we already have a database, guys. Okay, but for now let's create it again. We already have created this database. Let me create a new database. So this is how workbench looks like. We will just create database, that's it. No more table explicitly. The table will be created by Hibernate, entry will be created by Hibernate. Of course we will write some Java code, but we will just create database. So right click on empty space on MySQL workbench, then create schema, and here we will do what? We will name something. So let me call this 2025 Jan batch. Okay, I'm calling this as my uh, database name. You guys can see I'm writing capital J and capital B, but for database it doesn't matter. It ignores all these case sensitiveness and works in small letters. So okay, once you give the name, apply. I think we cannot give numbers. Yeah, it is even saying that you cannot use capitals. Okay, that's fine. It was just a warning, not an error. Okay, so our database is ready, and here we are, 2025 Jan batch. Okay, so it's empty. Tables, views, and stored procedures function. It's empty. Nothing is there. If I refresh, nothing coming up. Okay, so this is the database we're going to use in our Hibernate application. Okay, going back. So ultimately, the table which we are going to decide will go here. But even before that, we have to add one configuration file, and that configuration file goes inside src main resources. Guys, it's too much for first day maybe, so I'm not going to write or execute the code, but it will be the way to how you have to proceed further with Maven project, and then how to convert that Maven project into a Hibernate application. So we are into that. So we are done with Maven. Now we are adding Hibernate specific libraries and configuration file. So we can say now it is definitely Maven project, but more than that, it's an Hibernate application. So it's an app which is using Hibernate features. Okay, so under or inside src main resources, we are going to add one file. So that file is actually a configuration file. I'll take it from projects. Okay, not this one, sorry. This one. So src main resources, and this is the file. I'll copy this, going back to Eclipse and paste here. Okay, so this is how your configuration file, the Hibernate configuration file looks like. So the second step towards creating any Hibernate application, you have to create one configuration file. So let me write it here. Step 2, create or add Hibernate config file. Config file name is hibernate.cfg.xml. That's the file name. And where you have to edit, as we already knows the syntax, project structure, Maven project structure, it goes inside src main resources. src main resources. And might be you guys are wondering, okay, how to get this file? So you can even Google it. I already gave you that idea of where you can look out for the libraries. Likewise, you can also look out for how to get the configuration file. So let's say I'm new to Hibernate and then I'm looking forward how to get this CFG file. So you guys can check out, there is one official document of JBoss. Okay, and here it is. So you don't have to refer any third-party website and tutorials. You can open official documents as well. So JBoss is the owner and they are maintaining Hibernate. So you guys can go over on this website and you can see this is the thing. It's same thing what we just added in our configuration. So either you can copy paste from here, or if you have a previous project you can do it here, or maybe someone from your team, your managers, usually senior guys who are into that and they do all the configuration, they will provide you this library. And believe me, I don't think you will get a chance to create any Hibernate application from the scratch. This file will be always there for you, but I'm just giving you a reference. If someone asks you, so you can always tell them that I can get this file from the JBoss, and these are the configuration which you will see. I'm not going to much detail what things are here. I'm just adding the things. Tomorrow we will refactor them, but that's how your configuration file looks like. But I'll do certain changes. uh, this one here, I'll say 2025 Jan patch. I just mentioned one thing which is specific to my application on the database. Okay, so I copied, going back to the second image or second step. So that's how you can add your second configuration file. First was POM file, next is this is important file. And yeah, by the way, I've added comments as well. If you can understand, definitely go through this image and check out what these comments are. What if you understand the comments, so it's easy to understand what this configuration file is holding up. Okay, step 2 is also done. We are done with the configuration file. Next is your entity class. The class, okay, I said something. The entity class. This is the class we call this. Object class. We also call this entity class. Okay, so we are going to create one entity class here. So we can pick the same example. User is fine. So where to create that? We have to create one package first of all. So root package is org.hibernate, and if I open, it has some file. Oh, main method. Ignore that. I'm going to remove it. Right click, delete, and yes, I don't want you. Thank you. And here I'm going to create a new package. So right click, new. Is the package here, and it's going to be org-hibernate dot entity. Fine. That's my package name. It looks odd, so you can always refresh. So it's just kind of a bug in Eclipse. Okay, there it is. Fine. So right click, new, and pick a Java class. I'll call that user. That's what we saw on Paint. Here it is. And I'll create two fields as we discussed: private int ID, private string name, I guess. Yeah, name was it. Yep. And now we are going to generate its getter setters. How to generate that? Right click. I think we discussed about it. Pojo class. Actually, it's a Pojo class. So right click, source, getter setters, check boxes, or you can use these: select all, deselect all, select all, and generate. So it will generate getter setter for these two fields. This is a simple Pojo class. Nothing special about it for now. We are dealing with the Pojo class, plain old Java object. That's the whole form of plain Pojo term. A simple class. Checked. Okay, that's full form. So I said it's going to be entity class, but we are writing Pojo class. So we have to enhance this class so it can be understood by the Hibernate, and it can treat this Pojo class as an entity class, not just a Pojo, but an entity class. So what to add here? Some special annotations. So here you have to write at entity, and this will be imported from java x.persistence. Never ever import any library from Hibernate. Yes, although we are in Hibernate application, but never pick any annotation from Hibernate library. Always pick it from java x.persistence. And there it is. So now this class becomes entity class. So now Hibernate can read it that okay, that's my class name. But one more thing you have to, before proceeding further, you have to tell, okay, I'll keep it and remain as it is for now. I'm not going to change it. Tomorrow when we execute the code and when we get the exception, then we'll fix it. Okay, so our entity class is also ready. Let's copy this. So now this class, oh, it looks highlighted. So now Hibernate can read this class as an entity class. No more any Pojo class. Just because of one iteration. Okay. So now we have one entity class. Fine. What else we need? We need one configuration file. Remember when we were writing servlet? So we created one extra class to create a Java connection or database connection. Here we create one package util, and inside it we create MySQL and we created this kind of code. So it gives you a connection, right? A Java connection or database connection. Something similar you have to do here as well in Hibernate. So definitely not, this code won't work because this was for JDBC API. It's just a API. But now we are dealing with something huge, a framework which only works in or deals in database things. So for now, I'll go back to my previous projects and there I created this file src maven this utils. So I'll copy this file and that's my package. I'll create one more package. It will be again org-hb and then you can call it anything. So new package org.hb dot, I'll call this utils or utility, whatever you want to call it, which is kind of centralized thing. And inside this package, I'll right click and where is paste. Okay, it is giving error because of package name. Fine, utility and semicolon. Okay, so don't worry, ignore this code. I just want to highlight that we need some kind of connector like we did in servlet. I think we did in JDBC as well. So we did something similar here. So don't worry about the code. Just keep it as it is. It's just a one-time setup. Once it is done, we would be just required to write a less code, not this much. So we are done with third step as well. Third step was creating one configuration file. Step 3. Create a entity class. Okay. Step 3 is done. This is our fourth step. Step 4, create a class for say create a utility class for uh, getting DB connection for now. Simplifying it, not going to be more specific what actually happening. So DB connection is better. Like we did in servlet, same thing we're doing. We want to get a DB connection and this class will provide. Although it's not that true, but for first day, it's true. So step 4 is also done. We have the connection ready. Yeah, that's it. And one last class is for testing this whole purpose, this whole structure, where things right and what things has to be done. So today I don't want to add extra stuffs. I'll ask you guys to just go over, check out certain topics which I'm going to give right now. Where the space is. Okay, I can write it here. Where space. So I'm talking about some homework stuff. First of all, check out what is JPA. Okay, that's one huge term and a really famous term when it comes to Java web development. So JPA and what's the difference between JPA and Hibernate or similarities, whatever you think of, just check that out. Then check out what is Maven. Yep, I just gave a overview, but give your try, check out and figure out what is Maven from your end as well. What is Maven and what is ORM? Okay, in more detail. So JPA, difference between JPA and Hibernate, or how they works together, figure that out. So all these are homework for you guys. Figure that out for me tomorrow. So we can tomorrow execute this code, because if I have to execute, I have to do some more changes, and that will be specific more, get into the file and doing some changes. So I don't want to do this in one day. So we just learned what is Maven, how to create Maven projects, how to convert that Maven project into Hibernate. So we are almost done. We are just 10% behind the thing, and your code will work out. And we will see when you run the code, you will see that code is actually creating a table inside a database, and also some entry can be visible in terms of data if you're entering it, or at least table will be created by the Hibernate. But again, tomorrow we'll do that. Okay, that's it for today. Any question or doubt, please say.
Hey, hi, Pankaj.